Gary, looks like we're live.
Yep, we are.
Thanks for joining. You have been very prolific on Substack recently. I've been trying to be. It's good to see you. You're very far away. You're in a different time zone.
It's not far away by modern standards. I'm in Europe. Yes, 6 hours ahead of you.
We can talk for free by the miracle of Substack. So that's very nice.
Yeah, it's still land of free.
Yes, still so far. So should we get serious? I was trying to think of a way to be a little bit frivolous at the beginning of this conversation because with you lately, for good reason, it tends to be very serious. So is there anything lighthearted you want to say
It is very
first
serious.
before we get serious?
No, we don't have much time, so I think we
Okay.
should get serious.
Well,
Yeah, look, I'm happy to make jokes about it, but
no.
I don't want people to get me wrong. Let's just yes, joke as much as you want, but recognize that this is an existential threat to American democracy.
Yeah. Although you have written and we have discussed previously that one way to take down authoritarians and despots and wannabe authoritarians a notch is to make fun of them, is to satirize them, is to mock them. Do you still believe that to be true?
It's one of the tools. One of the tools. But number one is you have to recognize how dangerous this wannabe authoritarian is. And I don't think that American society, I mean, I believe still the larger part of American society that do not accept Donald Trump's rule as it is, recognizes the imminent threat to the very foundation of the republic.
So you're going to talk about that here for a few minutes, but at greater length in a new podcast, Autocracy in America, where I understand that one of the issues you're going to address, as you just did a second ago, is the problem of complacency. Do you have a diagnosis as to why Americans have been as complacent as they have been?
Yeah, because it's a very complex issue, and I think Americans try to look at this as a very linear one. And the idea of my podcast, this is the second season of the Atocles in America. The first one was hosted by Anna Baum, and she talked in the theory because she ran her podcast before the elections. Obviously, she addressed the potential second coming of Donald Trump, but it was more on the base of theory and about the rise of authoritarianism around the globe.
Yeah.
So I try to to use it or to use a very different angle. I have 12 episodes, and I talk to different people because I want to understand the phenomena of Donald Trump. Why Donald Trump was inevitable? That's the idea, and we have to hear from very different people. I mean, ranging from Frank Luntz on one side to Admiral McCraven to the other side, or from Alexander Motvich, the Ukrainian Nobel Prize winner, or former Speaker of the Lithuanian Parliament, Victoria Chmilytė, or from the CEO of largest European publishing house, Axel Springer, Matthias Döpfner. So it's very important that we look at these issues and recognize that simply micromanaging it is wrong. So saying, okay, look at the politics, look at social issues, look at economy, look at tech, for instance, tech issues, um, global politics. It's very important that we put it together. So what I tried to compose was a big picture. And if Donald Trump is a perfect storm, so what were the ingredients of this perfect storm? Why we're facing this imminent threat now? And I hope it will help people to understand the nature. Again, I believe it was inevitable, and you can hear it's inevitable. But his appearance and him presenting a threat to American democracy was inevitable. His victory is not. And it's very important before we fight back, we'll understand the components of this phenomenon and try to find the most effective measures to fight back and to defeat it.
There were a series of protests involving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans a few Saturdays ago. No kings. Is that an example of fighting back against complacency? Was that effective? Do we need more of it? Were you impressed? Were you unimpressed? What was your reaction to that?
No, any protest, as long as not violent, is very important, and I'm fully behind it. I think it's very important for people to feel solidarity. We have to also see the numbers that there are millions of people that are willing not just to reject the Donald Trump's um, governing tools, but also just ready to show up on the streets. But it's only part of the solution. So it's very important to understand that it may not be enough because the way Donald Trump, the second administration, has been acting so far, to me, it indicates that they will do whatever to stay in power. I mean, if you just if the moment you say, okay, let's talk about the issues that are so close to your heart. So, um, have you expected DOJ to investigate and most likely to charge former directors of CIA and FBI? Have you?
No.
No, okay, this was this the so. By the way, you remember when we talked about it? Just Trump was just elected, and I said that Trump would raise an issue of the third term. Yeah, then he
Yeah,
said it's
he has.
unconstitutional, it would never happen. It did. It did talk about. Yeah, I don't think it's the threat is real, but the fact is that he's always looking for weak spots. And, you know, charging former directors of FBI and CIA means that it's like burning the bridges. So for Cash Patel and for Pam Bondi, that means that if they lose power, I mean, somebody will look at their records. And I believe there's something to find there. So we have to prepare just for a big battle in 2026. Just it's in the midterm elections because it will not be elections as usual. It's not midterm and obviously the so-called big beautiful bill. It will be like an anchor that will sink the Republican Party. It's the elections might be very different because it's not it's not the regular election season. Donald Trump,
Yeah.
among many other things, have created personal police. ICE now has become something like Rosgvardia in Russian for Vladimir Putin. It's the first time on American soil president will have it under his direct command I would call paramilitary force that will increase and will be probably uh, capable of going after anyone,
Yeah.
not just about illegal immigrants. Obviously, immigrants is just the smaller portion of their challenge. But at one point, they will become too powerful, to be ignored. And expecting that elections will be just about casting your vote is not enough. And we need to demand more from the representatives, definitely from Democrats. I don't think we see enough, both in the Senate, in the House, and also from local representatives, enough to put pressure on GOP counterparts. So this is all just to
Yeah.
create more problems for the administration. You can't uh, let it go because the moment you accept that is a new norm, because that's what they do every day. They put up something else, and you say, okay, maybe it's a new norm. Next day they'll come for more.
Um, Going back to Trump's approach, strategy, MO, you had pointed out, and you made an allusion to this a couple of minutes ago when you made reference to Jim Comey and John Brennan. You wrote a piece whose title is very intriguing and the principle is very intriguing, and that is Trump's secret to limiting dissent without outlawing it. In other words, he goes up to a line, but he doesn't absolutely cross it, but that we shouldn't take any comfort from that. Is that fair?
Absolutely, and that's what I saw in Russia. Again, he's not powerful enough to go after everybody, but if he goes after former FBI director, former CIA director, that's a message. And even if they're not charged, its investigation will be very tiresome. It will drain their resources. It's both nerve energy, it's emotion and money, and they will probably suffer the consequences. We already saw how American businesses and American media, you may even say capitulated to Donald Trump's demands. So it's attacking some big wigs. So from the former government, Donald Trump is sending the message to others: stay away. So and I think there will be this atmosphere not of fear, but I mean let's stay away. Let's not get involved. So it's make the society um, more concerned about this is everybody of everyone is about personal safety uh,
Yeah.
because they can go after me as well.
Can you talk about the role of corruption and all this, of self-improvement, self-enrichment? There was a lot of that in the first term. Now he's selling a fragrance. Now he has a meme coin. He took a plane, a 747 jet from Qatar. Is that just a symptom of all of this? Is there strategy in it? Is it just something that people who have a lot of power like him, um, it's a perk of office? And also in your answer, address whether or not people should have taken to the streets on this issue. Are people under appreciating the corruption here?
It's corruption is always it's a part of this package. So no authoritarian could push his agenda without being corrupt, because enriching himself and his inner circle and his cronies is a very important element of the successful implementation of authoritarian rule. Also, it puts the leader, the dear leader, the boss, uh, above the fray. So he can do that. So I joked on Twitter that it's uh, um, if for Harry Truman the buck stops here. That's a famous phrase on his
Yes.
table. So for Donald Trump, the buck stops at his bank account. So that's the um, and I think he does it maybe instinctively, but he just sends a message that I can do it. I'm immune. I'm above the law. So every time he does these acts, and many of them are just, could be unheard, even 20 years ago. I'm not even talking about the days when Nixon had to resign. I mean, come on. We have Watergate every minute now of this administration, and nobody cares. So this is, I mean, lying.
Yes.
It's a part of the loyalty test. It's in the administration, and they don't blink, they don't blush, so they just simply lie. It's like this is the your test to actually to fit the current framework of the government. And the fact is that the president, the big boss now could take the plane from Qatar, or to sell fragrances. I don't care. It's a joke. We can laugh at fragrances. We don't have to laugh at meme coins, because we're talking about millions and millions of dollars. And also, it's an instrument. It's a public invitation for corruption. So anybody in the world can actually start buying these coins, sending money, and guess what? It's to probably receive some favors. But what bothers me is that they openly play with the stock market by receiving the information from the Oval Office. Just recently the tariffs. I mean,
Yeah.
Trump announcing tariffs back and forth. I mean, that's how you make money, because all you have to know is that to be informed 1 hour in advance about the announcement, and then you just you do whatever you find appropriate. And we saw so many proofs of that. And then you make money. So maybe he will walk back from this new sanctions on August 1st. But the fact is, money is being made already, and that's clear message to his supporters that as long as you're with me, don't worry. And by the way, first thing he did, always look at the first thing Trump did. For instance, what Putin did when he became president of Russia, he restored Soviet anthem. That's also an indication that what he had in mind. He was not ready to push it through, but that's was a best reflection of his global vision. What was Donald Trump's first act? Amnesty for January 6th criminals.
Yeah.
That's it. Couldn't be clearer. Stay with me, work for me, and you can escape from the law and order.
Um, I believe it's true. History has taught that immense power defeats immense wealth. And there is a very famous example, and there are other examples in Russia of uh, the richest people in the country becoming crosswise with Putin, and that rich person, that oligarch, goes to prison or something else happens to them. We have in this country seen a very close relationship between the most powerful person in the country, Donald Trump, and the wealthiest person in not just the country, but the world, Elon Musk. Is there any parallel that should be drawn? Should Elon Musk Um, stay away from open windows. Are these serious questions to be asking, or are those silly things to be thinking about?
Not yet, but emphasis on the word yet. So I think it will depend on how successful Elon new project would be, the third party. As a matter of fact, I think in general, the idea of third party should be considered seriously. But obviously, in Musk's world, that will be a political party, political entity that may damage MAGA coalition.
Yeah.
And the moment Trump senses that Elon's activities could jeopardize his stay in power and could basically destroy Republican chances to control the House and the Senate in 2026, which is paramount for Trump. And by the way, he will not stop at anything to keep control, because the moment you lose control, even of the House, and of course House of the Senate, but even of the House, that will ruin the House of Cards, because his policies is the 2025 project depends on the paralysis of the Congress. So the House must stay silent, and Trump's control is again it's raises in majority. So that's why preserving control of the Congress, the U.S. Congress, it's a top priority for 2026. And I will not be surprised, and that's we should consider that if the threat is real, uh, ask yourself: do you believe that Pam Bondi and Cash Patel will follow Constitution or Trump's orders? And that's the question Elon Musk should ask, because if Elon is successful in building the coalition that will be taking very just it's a big chunks of Trump's support from MAGA coalition, we can see that's
Yeah.
the, as you said, the immense power will go up the immense wealth. And considering that many of American richest individuals already acquiesced and just decided to stay away, so I will be definitely, I would suggest buying popcorn and waiting for the outcome.
Last question. A subject that we have talked about many times, the situation in Ukraine, the Russian war against Ukraine. Do you make anything of Trump's latest rumblings that sound like a different tune to some people? And I must ask you, in connection with that, when you called Marco Rubio pathetic, why did you say that? What do you make of everything that's going on at this moment?
Yeah, he's pathetic. He he's the first.
It
He's
speaks for itself, Garry Kasparov says.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but uh, he's the first American since Henry Kissinger who controlled both National Security Council and the State Department. He has immense power, but his power is basically to follow Trump's orders. By the way, during the nomination process in the Senate, he said it. Nobody took it serious, but he said it. He was asked about some foreign policy. He said, "No, I would be there, Trump's advisor." I mean, you're not advisor. So National Security
Yeah.
Council probably yes, but not as a Secretary of State.
Yeah.
But he just follows Trump orders. So he's not a real politician, and many things that he did, or concepts and ideas he defended on the international stage, they are totally the opposite, exactly opposite what Marco Rubio, the senator, has been saying over years and years. But regarding Ukraine, I think that shows the limitation of Trump's power. Yes, Trump wanted to help Putin. Trump, was desperately looking for any way to end the war on favorable terms for Putin. But I said just, from day one that it looked to me that what Trump could offer to Putin was much less than Putin needed domestically, because Putin needs a total victory. Trump politically can deliver to Putin. So again, his coalition is not just MAGA. There are many Republicans. Yes, we can say whatever we want, and I will not oppose about Lindsey Graham and other Republican senators that are, behaving very poorly, and it's not definitely doing their job. But I think they all have limits, and it seems that with Ukraine, Trump reached his limit. So it's he tried, they desperately tried. He sent Vitkov. By the way, who the hell is Vitkov? Can you imagine that you had this your business partner, just in this shady real estate deals in New York, negotiating global politics in Moscow and Middle East. So it was clearly, the Trump style, to look for some benefits. How could I get, the peace in Ukraine? Okay, mineral deals here and there, and eventually, just to improve my bank account, or just some of my closest friends and relatives. It failed because again, Putin needed much more. And I think Trump now realized that just it's he reached a point. So he reached his limits, and now he is trying to be on the winning side. So he's pushing the this something that is quite opposite what he suggested and he campaigned on a year ago. So I think that's probably good news for Ukraine. But Ukraine succeeded, quote unquote, succeeded, because now that's just changing Trump by sacrificing immensely. It's this change of Trump position is paid by Ukrainian blood. And Putin, it's not surprising that Putin intensified attacks on Ukraine. It's probably now, just I saw the statistics, it's 10 times more attacks on Ukraine than a year ago. So whatever you want about Joe Biden and his administration, and that's that Biden was weak and Putin didn't care about Biden, he had just no respect. But the fact is that since Trump was elected and entered the Oval Office in on January 20th this year, the attacks intensified. So Putin believed Trump would offer him what he needed, but it seems that again, it was not even close.
Yeah. Well, Garry, thanks for your time. You and I have to go, but just to remind everyone, your new podcast, second season of Autocracy in America. I think the first episode is available today. Am I right?
Yes, it's now. It's already available. It will be on a weekly basis. So there will be 12 weeks in the row. So just listen to this episode and learn more about Donald Trump's phenomenon, why I believe it was inevitable, and how we can fight back.
Look, and if you've been listening to this podcast from work, the Substack from work, you might as well take another little bit of time, listen to Garry's new podcast. Episode 1 is out. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Garry, for your time. Thanks for your night.
Thank you.
And thanks for speaking up. Thank you so much, sir. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.